Africa, with all its potential, has become the new battleground for global powers looking to expand their influence. Not only is the continent rich in natural resources such as gold, oil, and rare minerals, but it also offers something even more attractive: a growing market. With a population of more than 1.4 billion people, the majority of whom are young, Africa is attracting major powers such as China and India. Africa is a continent of abundant wealth, but its potential goes far beyond natural resources. The African market, which is expected to be home to 25% of the global workforce by the end of the decade, provides a huge opportunity for outside products and services. Countries on the continent are also rapidly urbanizing, creating a need for infrastructure, healthcare, education, and technology. All this makes Africa more than just a mineral mine, but also a center of global economic growth. China has long dominated Africa. From 2000 to 2022, China has poured $170 billion into building infrastructure such as roads, railways, ports, and dams. This approach allows China to secure supplies of critical minerals such as cobalt and lithium, which are in high demand in the global technology industry. For example, the cobalt-rich Democratic Republic of Congo is China's strategic partner for supplying raw materials for electric vehicle batteries. With massive projects such as the Mombasa-Nairobi Railway in Kenya and a modern port in Djibouti, China has cemented its position as a key African partner.
The Chinese leader has vowed to upgrade diplomatic relations and offered a range of economic perks to the continent.
In addition, the Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, program directly integrates African countries into the global trade network led by China. To date, more than 40 African countries have signed agreements with China for projects within the BRI framework. However, this dominance is not without criticism. In recent years, anti-China sentiment has increased in some African countries. Allegations of debt entrapment are a major issue, with many countries feeling burdened by heavy loan repayment terms. For example, Kenya almost lost control of the port of Mombasa due to difficulties repaying debts associated with a railway project. A similar situation exists in Zambia, which is facing huge debt pressure due to infrastructure projects financed by China. China has also been criticized for often hiring labor from its own country for major projects in Africa, which reduces the direct impact on local employment. In addition, the quality of some Chinese projects has been questioned, with reports of early failures on newly built highways and bridges. This raises concerns about the construction standards being applied, especially as this infrastructure is vital to Africa's economy. India is capitalizing on the anti-China sentiment by offering a different approach. Despite having more limited resources than China, India focuses on cost-effective, more transparent, and sustainability-oriented development. This approach has paved the way for India to expand its influence in Africa. In countries like Kenya and Uganda, India stands out as a major supplier of pharmaceutical products. India's affordable generic medicines and vaccines form the backbone of public health efforts in Africa. In Tanzania, India has established military cooperation, including training and transfer of defense technology. This move not only strengthens bilateral ties, but also helps Africa improve its defense capabilities. Through the Pan-African E-Network program, India has connected universities and hospitals in Africa with similar institutions in India, building digital infrastructure vital to education and healthcare. Not only that, given the importance of the Suez Canal as a global trade route, India is focusing on maritime security cooperation with Egypt. India has also established close partnerships in the copper mining sector, a mineral that is vital to the electronics and technology industries. To date, India's investment in Africa has reached over $80 billion, mostly directed towards the energy, digital technology, and manufacturing sectors. Through the Indian Development Partnership Initiative, IDPI, India also allocates $2 billion for small-scale infrastructure projects, such as the construction of schools, hospitals, and irrigation systems. Why is India so aggressively investing its resources in Africa, even though the continent often faces major tests such as political instability and regional conflicts? The answer lies in past history. It is not new for India and Africa to feel a deep connection. Both were once under the shadow of colonization. Both fought colonial powers that deprived them of resources and independence. From Mahatma Gandhi's fight against discrimination in South Africa to Nelson Mandela's struggle to abolish apartheid, India and Africa have shared a common passion for fighting injustice. However, this relationship goes beyond the nostalgia of the past. In a fast-changing world, India and Africa are seeking a common path to the future. Both reject the idea of a world ruled by the two great powers of the United States and China. Instead, they want a multipolar world where power is distributed more evenly, including to developing countries. Moreover, in recent decades, India has faced challenges similar to those of African countries, such as population growth, economic problems, and social disparities. However, India has managed to find a balance, albeit a difficult one, between democracy, nationalism, and diverse economic policies. India's political and economic model has even received international attention. In 2010, Larry Summers, a prominent American economist, called this approach the Mumbai Consensus. According to him, this model offers an example of how developing countries can find their own way without relying too much on developed countries. In Uganda, Prime Minister Narendra Modi didn't just talk about history. He introduced 10 key principles in India-Africa relations. These principles include support for open markets, free trade, a focus on the digital economy, and cooperation against global threats such as terrorism.
वैश्विक शांति और सुरक्षा के लिए एक तरफ आतंकवाद जैसा बड़ा खतरा है.
Not only that, he also emphasized the importance of reforming international organizations like the UN so that developing countries have a stronger voice. The year 2023 is another big moment in this relationship. At the G20 summit held in New Delhi, India successfully pushed for the African Union to become a permanent member of the G20. This was not only a triumph of diplomacy, but also a testament to how India champions the common interests of developing countries.
मैं अफ्रीकन यूनियन के अध्यक्ष को G20 के स्थायी सदस्य के रूप में
India's excellence in relations with Africa comes not only from its government, but also from the Indian diaspora spread across various African countries. Around 3 million people of Indian descent live in Africa, playing an important role in strengthening cultural and economic ties. In countries like South Africa, Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, and Mauritius, the diaspora is a strong link between the two regions. In South Africa, for example, the Indian diaspora contributes to a variety of sectors, from business to education. In Kenya, the Indian community plays an important role in trade and infrastructure. They are not only part of the history, but also the present and future of the relationship between the two regions. While ambitious, India still has a long way to go to catch up with China in African competition. From 2010 to 2020, China managed to invest 11 times more in Africa than India. However, India is starting to show significant progress. Between 1991 and 2022, India's trade with Africa increased sharply from $893 million to nearly $97.8 billion. The African Union is now India's fourth largest trading partner after the United States, China, and the United Arab Emirates. On the other hand, India has also become the third largest trading partner for Africa, after China and the European Union. This trade trend has continued to increase since 2016, despite a decline due to the COVID-19 pandemic. India's main exports to Africa include manufactured goods such as petroleum and pharmaceutical products, while India's imports from Africa are mostly raw materials, such as crude oil from Nigeria. These imports play an important role for India to meet its growing energy needs, along with rapid economic growth. To strengthen its influence in Africa, India has set an investment target of $150 billion by 2030. This investment will be focused on the infrastructure, energy, and defense sectors. This strategy aims not only to counterbalance China's influence, but also to strengthen India's position as a strategic partner that African countries can rely on. This ambition shows India's seriousness in making Africa an important part of its future geopolitical plans.